Question 1. What is the primary function of the Texas Real Estate Commission, TREC? A. Providing financial assistance to real estate agents. B. Regulating and licensing real estate professionals. C. Selling government-owned real estate properties. D. Offering real estate investment advice. Answer: B. Regulating and licensing real estate professionals. Explanation: the primary function of the Texas Real Estate Commission, TREC, is to regulate and license real estate professionals, ensuring they meet and maintain required standards of practice and professionalism in the industry. Question 2. Define the term homestead in Texas real estate law. A. A large agricultural estate. B. A rental property generating income. C. A primary residence protected from certain types of creditors. D. Any property owned by a real estate developer. Answer: C. A primary residence protected from certain types of creditors. Explanation: in Texas real estate law, a homestead refers to a primary residence that is granted certain protections against creditors, safeguarding the property from forced sale to satisfy debts under specific conditions. Question 3. Explain the concept of community property as it applies in Texas. A. Property purchased for community use. B. Property owned by a married couple equally. C. Property owned by a real estate community. D. Commercial properties in urban areas. Answer: B. Property owned by a married couple equally. Explanation: community property in Texas refers to the concept where most property acquired during a marriage is owned equally by both spouses, regardless of who purchased it. This includes income, real estate, and other assets. Question 4. Describe the role of a broker in Texas real estate transactions. A. Preparing legal documents for property transfer. B. Providing mortgage loans to buyers. C. Mediating negotiations between buyers and sellers. D. Managing rental properties for landlords. Answer: C. Mediating negotiations between buyers and sellers. Explanation: in Texas real estate transactions, the role of a broker primarily involves mediating negotiations between buyers and sellers, facilitating transactions, and ensuring compliance with legal and ethical standards. Question 5. What is a title search, and why is it important in Texas real estate transactions? A. A search for the most suitable property title. B. Reviewing public records to verify a property's legal ownership. C. Searching for the highest valued properties in an area. D. Conducting a survey to establish property boundaries. Answer: B. Reviewing public records to verify a property's legal ownership. Explanation: a title search in Texas real estate transactions involves reviewing public records to verify the legal ownership of the property and to ensure there are no outstanding lines or claims that could affect the transfer of the title. Question 6. Scenario: John and Jane are married and purchasing a home in Texas. If one of them dies, how does the state's community property law affect the ownership of the home? A. The surviving spouse automatically inherits the entire property. B. The property is sold and proceeds divided among heirs. C. Ownership transfers to the couple's children. D. The deceased spouse's share goes to their individual heirs. Answer: A. The surviving spouse automatically inherits the entire property. Explanation: under Texas's community property law, if one spouse dies, the surviving spouse typically automatically inherits the deceased spouse's interest in the property, assuming it was acquired during the marriage. Question 7. In Texas, what is required for a valid real estate contract? A. Verbal agreement between buyer and seller. B. Written agreement with a witness signature. C. Written and signed agreement by both parties. D. Approval from a real estate attorney. Answer: C. Written and signed agreement by both parties. Explanation. A valid real estate contract in Texas requires a written and signed agreement by both parties involved in the transaction. This legal requirement ensures clarity and enforceability of the contract terms. Question 8. How does Texas law define dual agency in a real estate transaction? A. Representing both the buyer and the seller in the same transaction. B. Working with two different real estate agencies. C. Representing two buyers competing for the same property. D. Acting as both a broker and a mortgage lender. Answer. A. Representing both the buyer and the seller in the same transaction. Explanation. Dual agency in Texas real estate is defined as an agent or broker representing both the buyer and the seller in the same transaction. This requires clear disclosure and consent from all parties due to potential conflicts of interest. Question 9. What are mineral rights in Texas, and how can they impact property ownership? A. Rights to any minerals found in home gardens. B. The right to mine minerals on any property. C. Ownership rights to underground resources like oil and gas. D. The rights to any artifacts found on a property. Answer. C. Ownership rights to underground resources like oil and gas. Explanation. In Texas, mineral rights refer to the ownership rights to underground resources such as oil, gas, and minerals. These rights can be sold or leased separately from the land, impacting property ownership and usage. Question 10. Scenario. A property owner sells their home but retains the mineral rights. What does this mean for the new homeowner? A. They can exploit any minerals found on the property. B. They own the surface rights but not the underground mineral rights. C. They must pay royalties to the original owner for any minerals found. D. They cannot sell the property without the original owner's consent. Answer. B. They own the surface rights but not the underground mineral rights. Explanation. If a property owner in Texas sells their home but retains the mineral rights, the new homeowner owns the surface rights of the property but not the rights to any underground minerals or resources. The original owner retains the right to exploit these underground resources. Question 11. Explain the Deceptive Trade Practices Act, DTPA, in Texas real estate. A. A law allowing unlimited trade practices in real estate. B. Legislation that legalizes all forms of trade in real estate. C. A consumer protection law against false, misleading, or deceptive business practices. D. An act that deregulates trade practices in real estate. Answer. C. A consumer protection law against false, misleading, or deceptive business practices. Explanation. The Deceptive Trade Practices Act, DTPA, in Texas real estate is a consumer protection law designed to protect consumers against false, misleading, or deceptive business practices, including those in real estate transactions. Question 12. What is a 1031 exchange, and how is it used in Texas real estate? A. A method for exchanging properties to avoid capital gains taxes. B. A standard procedure for transferring property titles. C. An exchange of real estate licenses between agents. D. A process for swapping properties between buyers. Answer. A. A method for exchanging properties to avoid capital gains taxes. Explanation. A 1031 exchange, used in Texas real estate, allows investors to defer capital gains taxes by exchanging one investment property for another. This process must meet specific criteria outlined by the IRS. Question 13. Define encumbrance in the context of real estate. A. The process of buying and selling properties. B. A claim, lien, or liability attached to a property. C. A type of property insurance. D. The act of transferring property between states. Answer. B. A claim, lien, or liability attached to a property. Explanation. In real estate, an encumbrance refers to a claim, lien, or liability that is attached to and limits the use or transferability of the property. It can affect the property's value and the owner's ability to sell or use it. Question 14. Scenario. A Texas homeowner discovers a lien on their property during a title search. What does this mean, and how can it be resolved? A. It indicates a pending sale, resolved by completing the sale. B. It's a standard part of property ownership. No action needed. C. A claim against the property, resolved by paying the debt or disputing the lien. D. A zoning violation, resolved through property modification. Answer. C. A claim against the property, resolved by paying the debt or disputing the lien. Explanation. Discovering a lien on a property in Texas during a title search means there's a claim against the property, usually due to an unpaid debt. The homeowner can resolve it by paying off the debt or legally disputing the validity of the lien. Question 15. What is the significance of fair housing laws in Texas real estate practice? A. They determine housing prices in different neighborhoods. B. Provide guidelines for architectural styles. C. Prohibit discrimination in housing based on certain protected characteristics. D. Regulate the size and type of housing constructions. Answer. C. Prohibit discrimination in housing based on certain protected characteristics. Explanation. Fair housing laws in Texas are crucial as they prohibit discrimination in the sale, rental, and financing of dwellings based on race, color, national origin, religion, sex, familial status, or disability, ensuring equal housing opportunities for all. Question 16. Explain the process of foreclosure in Texas. A. A lengthy court process to transfer property ownership. B. A legal process allowing landlords to evict tenants. C. The lender's legal right to take possession of property due to unpaid mortgage. D. Automatically occurs when a property's value decreases. Answer. C. The lender's legal right to take possession of property due to unpaid mortgage. Explanation. Foreclosure in Texas is a legal process where the lender can take possession of a property due to the homeowner's failure to pay the mortgage. This process can be either judicial or non-judicial and involves specific legal steps and novices. Question 17. Describe the concept of easement and its importance in Texas real estate. A. A financial grant for property buyers. B. A right to use another's property for a specific purpose. C. A type of property insurance. D. The process of evaluating a property's value. Answer. B. A right to use another's property for a specific purpose. Explanation. An easement in Texas real estate is a legal right granted to a person or entity to use another's property for a specific purpose, such as accessing a road or utility line. It's important because it can affect property use and value. Question 18. Scenario. A buyer in Texas discovers a discrepancy in the property's boundary lines. What steps should they take? A. Ignore it, as it's common in property transactions. B. Request a new survey and potentially negotiate with the seller or neighbors. C. Automatically cancel the purchase contract. D. Move the boundary lines to match the original plan. Answer. B. Request a new survey and potentially negotiate with the seller or neighbors. Explanation. If a buyer in Texas discovers a discrepancy in a property's boundary lines, they should request a new accurate survey. Depending on the findings, they might need to negotiate with the seller or adjacent property owners to resolve any issues. Question 19. What are the responsibilities of a fiduciary in Texas real estate transactions? A. To market and advertise properties. B. To act in the best interest of the client with loyalty and confidentiality. C. To provide financial loans to clients. D. To construct and develop real estate properties. Answer. B. To act in the best interest of the client with loyalty and confidentiality. Explanation. In Texas real estate transactions, a fiduciary, such as a real estate agent or broker, has the responsibility to act in the best interest of their client. This includes duties of loyalty, confidentiality, and putting the client's needs above their own. Question 20. Define market value and explain its relevance in real estate appraisals in Texas. A. The lowest price a property can be sold for. B. The rental income a property generates. C. The price a property is likely to sell for under normal conditions. D. The cost of constructing a similar property. Answer. C. The price a property is likely to sell for under normal conditions. Explanation. Market value in real estate is the estimated price a property is likely to sell for under normal market conditions. In Texas, appraisals use market value to determine a property's worth, which is crucial for sales, financing, and taxation purposes. Question 21. What is the purpose of a seller's disclosure notice in Texas real estate transactions? A. To provide the seller's personal information. B. To disclose known property defects to the buyer. C. To inform about the seller's reason for selling. D. To disclose the commission rates of real estate agents. Answer. B. To disclose known property defects to the buyer. Explanation. In Texas real estate transactions, a seller's disclosure notice is required to inform the buyer about known defects and issues with the property. This legal requirement helps the buyer make an informed decision and reduces the risk of post-sale disputes. Question 22. Scenario. A tenant in a Texas rental property discovers the presence of lead-based paint. What are the landlord's obligations in this situation? A. No action is required as it's the tenant's responsibility. B. Provide written disclosure and ensure the property is safe. C. Repaint the property immediately. D. Reduce the rent due to the presence of lead. Answer. B. Provide written disclosure and ensure the property is safe. Explanation. In Texas, if lead-based paint is discovered in a rental property, the landlord is obligated to provide the tenant with written disclosure about its presence and take necessary steps to ensure the property is safe, especially if there's a risk of exposure. Question 23. Define line priority and its significance in Texas real estate. A. The order in which multiple lines on a property will be paid. B. The preference for line types in legal disputes. C. A line's duration before it expires. D. The process of removing lines from a property. Answer. A. The order in which multiple lines on a property will be paid. Explanation. Line priority in Texas real estate determines the order in which multiple lines on a property are paid off, especially in foreclosure or sale. It's significant because it affects the likelihood of a line holder being fully compensated. Question 24. Explain the concept of amortization in the context of a real estate mortgage. A. The process of increasing a mortgage loan. B. The division of a mortgage into equal payments over time. C. The assessment of a property's value for mortgage purposes. D. The transfer of a mortgage from one lender to another. Answer. B. The division of a mortgage into equal payments over time. Explanation. Amortization in real estate mortgages refers to the process of dividing a mortgage loan into equal payments spread over a specific period. Each payment includes a portion of both the principal and the interest, gradually reducing the loan balance. Question 25. What is a buyer's market, and how does it affect real estate transactions in Texas? A. A market where sellers have more negotiating power. B. A situation where there are more properties than buyers. C. A market exclusively for first-time buyers. D. A government-regulated real estate market. Answer. B. A situation where there are more properties than buyers. Explanation. A buyer's market in Texas real estate occurs when there are more properties available than there are buyers. In such a market, buyers often have more negotiating power, potentially leading to lower prices and more favorable terms for them. Question 26. Scenario. A Texas property owner finds an unrecorded easement on their land. What steps should they take? A. Ignore it as unrecorded easements are not enforceable. B. Verify the easement's validity and consult a real estate attorney. C. Immediately remove the easement from the property. D. File a complaint with the Texas Real Estate Commission. Answer. B. Verify the easement's validity and consult a real estate attorney. Explanation. When a Texas property owner discovers an unrecorded easement, they should first verify its validity, possibly through a title search, and then consult a real estate attorney to understand their rights and options, as unrecorded easements can sometimes be enforceable. Question 27. In Texas, how is real property differentiated from personal property? A. Real property is movable, while personal property is immovable. B. Real property includes land and buildings, personal property does not. C. Personal property includes land and buildings, real property does not. D. There is no legal difference between the two in Texas. Answer. B. Real property includes land and buildings, personal property does not. Explanation. In Texas, real property refers to land and anything permanently attached to it, like buildings or structures, while personal property refers to movable items not permanently attached to land, such as furniture or vehicles. Question 28. Describe the concept of deed restrictions and their impact on property use in Texas. A. Restrictions that limit the number of deeds a property can have. B. Terms in a deed limiting how a property can be used or modified. C. Government-imposed restrictions on the sale of properties. D. Restrictions on the size and shape of buildings on a property. Answer. B. Terms in a deed limiting how a property can be used or modified. Explanation. Deed restrictions in Texas are terms and conditions included in a property's deed that limit how the property can be used or modified. These restrictions can impact property use, development, and can be enforceable by other property owners or homeowners associations. Question 29. Scenario. A Texas real estate agent is accused of steering. What does this mean, and what are the potential consequences? A. Directing clients to or away from certain neighborhoods based on discrimination. B. Guiding clients towards high commission properties. C. Steering negotiations in favor of the seller. D. Directing clients to use specific mortgage lenders. Answer. A. Directing clients to or away from certain neighborhoods based on discrimination. Explanation. Steering in Texas real estate refers to the unethical and illegal practice of directing clients towards or away from certain neighborhoods based on race, religion, or other discriminatory factors. Consequences can include legal action, loss of license, and reputational damage. Question 30. How does the Texas Property Code define constructive eviction? A. Forcibly removing a tenant from a property. B. Evicting a tenant without a court order. C. When conditions are so poor that a tenant is forced to leave. D. An eviction that follows all legal procedures. Answer. C. When conditions are so poor that a tenant is forced to leave. Explanation. Constructive eviction in Texas occurs when living conditions in a rental property become so intolerable due to the landlord's neglect or actions that the tenant is effectively forced to leave, even though there has been no formal eviction process. Question 31. What is the role of a home inspector in Texas real estate transactions? A. To determine the property's market value. B. To inspect and report on the physical condition of the property. C. To ensure the property meets zoning regulations. D. To verify the legality of the property's title. Answer: B. To inspect and report on the physical condition of the property. Explanation: in Texas real estate transactions, a home inspector's role is to conduct a comprehensive inspection of the property and provide a detailed report on its physical condition, including the structure, systems, and any defects or maintenance issues. Question 32. Scenario: a Texas homeowner is facing foreclosure. What options are available to them to avoid losing their home? A. Relinquishing the property to the government. B. Negotiating a loan modification or forbearance with the lender. C. Immediately selling the property to a family member. D. Abandoning the property. Answer: B. Negotiating a loan modification or forbearance with the lender. Explanation: a Texas homeowner facing foreclosure can explore options like negotiating a loan modification or forbearance agreement with their lender, which may involve adjusting the mortgage terms or temporarily reducing or pausing payments to avoid foreclosure. Question 33. Define property flipping and its implications in Texas real estate law. A. Changing property ownership frequently without legal implications. B. The legal process of transferring property to a new owner. C. Buying and quickly reselling properties, potentially subject to specific regulations. D. Exchanging properties between family members. Answer: C. Buying and quickly reselling properties, potentially subject to specific regulations. Explanation: property flipping in Texas involves buying real estate and quickly reselling it for profit. While legal, it's subject to regulations to prevent fraud, such as ensuring accurate property appraisals and honest disclosures. Question 34. In Texas, describe the process and legal requirements for a 1031 like-kind exchange. A. Swapping similar properties without any legal requirements. B. A legal process allowing the exchange of similar properties to defer taxes. C. Exchanging properties between states with no tax implications. D. Trading properties of different types with special permits. Answer: B. A legal process allowing the exchange of similar properties to defer taxes. Explanation: in Texas, a 1031 like-kind exchange is a legal process that allows property investors to exchange similar types of properties, deferring capital gains taxes. It requires adherence to specific IRS rules, including using a qualified intermediary and meeting deadlines. Question 35. Scenario: a Texas property is subject to a life estate. Explain what this means for the life tenant and the remainderman. A. The life tenant temporarily rents the property and the remainderman owns it. B. The life tenant has full ownership until death, then it passes to the remainderman. C. Both parties share ownership equally. D. The remainderman can use the property whenever they want. Answer: B. The life tenant has full ownership until death, then it passes to the remainderman. Explanation: in a Texas life estate, the life tenant has the right to use and benefit from the property during their lifetime. After their death, ownership of the property automatically passes to the remainderman, who has been designated to inherit the property. Question 36. Define specific performance in the context of Texas real estate contracts. A. Performing a specific number of real estate transactions. B. A legal action to enforce the exact terms of a contract. C. Achieving specified performance goals in real estate sales. D. Specific clauses that dictate contract performance standards. Answer: B. A legal action to enforce the exact terms of a contract. Explanation: specific performance in Texas real estate contracts refers to a legal action where a court orders a party to fulfill their contractual obligations exactly as agreed, typically used in cases where monetary compensation is not adequate, such as in unique property transactions. Question 37. What is the role of appraisal districts in Texas property taxation? A. To collect property taxes from homeowners. B. To determine the market value of properties for tax purposes. C. To handle disputes related to property tax payments. D. To sell properties that have unpaid taxes. Answer: B. To determine the market value of properties for tax purposes. Explanation: in Texas, appraisal districts play a crucial role in property taxation by assessing and determining the market value of properties within their jurisdiction. This assessed value is used as a basis for calculating property taxes owed by homeowners. Question 38. Scenario: a real estate investor in Texas is considering a tax-deferred exchange. What does this entail, and what are the benefits? A. Exchanging investment properties with deferred property tax payments. B. Swapping properties to defer capital gains taxes. C. Trading properties without any tax implications for a limited time. D. Exchanging properties with deferred income tax payments. Answer: B. Swapping properties to defer capital gains taxes. Explanation: in Texas, a real estate investor considering a tax-deferred exchange, typically under a 1031 exchange, can swap investment properties and defer paying capital gains taxes on the profits. This strategy allows investors to reinvest the full proceeds from a sale into another property. Question 39. How do Texas laws regulate property management activities? A. There are no specific regulations for property management. B. Property managers must be licensed and adhere to legal standards. C. Only real estate brokers can engage in property management. D. Property management is self-regulated by industry organizations. Answer: B. Property managers must be licensed and adhere to legal standards. Explanation: in Texas, property management activities are regulated by law, requiring property managers to be licensed and adhere to specific legal and ethical standards. This ensures professionalism and protects the interests of property owners and tenants. Question 40. What is equitable title in Texas real estate, and when does it occur in a transaction? A. The title obtained after full payment for a property. B. A temporary title used during property negotiations. C. The interest held by a buyer after entering a contract, but before closing. D. A shared title between co-owners of a property. Answer: C. The interest held by a buyer after entering a contract, but before closing. Explanation: in Texas real estate, equitable title refers to the interest and rights a buyer acquires in a property upon entering into a purchase contract, but before the legal title is formally transferred at closing. This gives the buyer certain rights to the property during this interim period. Question 41. In Texas, what constitutes a breach of contract in a real estate transaction? A. Failure to submit a property disclosure. B. Changing real estate agents during a transaction. C. Non-compliance with the terms agreed upon in the contract. D. The property not appraising for the agreed-upon price. Answer: C. Non-compliance with the terms agreed upon in the contract. Explanation: a breach of contract in a Texas real estate transaction occurs when either party fails to comply with the terms and conditions as outlined in the signed agreement. This could include failure to complete agreed-upon repairs, not closing on the agreed-upon date, or any other non-compliance with the contract terms. Question 42. Scenario: a Texas couple is purchasing a home with a VA loan. What unique aspects should they consider? A. The need for a larger down payment than conventional loans. B. Potential for higher interest rates. C. Eligibility requirements and benefits like no down payment. D. Shorter term of the loan compared to conventional loans. Answer: C. Eligibility requirements and benefits like no down payment. Explanation. When purchasing a home with a VA loan in Texas, a couple should consider its unique aspects, including eligibility requirements such as military service and benefits such as no down payment requirement and potentially lower interest rates compared to conventional loans. Question 43. Define the term wetlands and discuss how they can affect property development in Texas. A. Land areas saturated with water, often protected and subject to environmental regulations. B. Urban areas designated for water conservation. C. Areas with frequent flooding, unsuitable for development. D. Properties with artificial water bodies like ponds or lakes. Answer. A. Land areas saturated with water, often protected and subject to environmental regulations. Explanation. Wetlands are areas where water covers the soil or is present either at or near the surface of the soil. In Texas, developing on wetlands is often restricted and subject to stringent environmental regulations, as these areas are protected due to their ecological significance. Question 44. What is the difference between a real estate broker and a real estate agent in Texas? A. No difference. They are synonymous terms. B. A broker is licensed to manage their own real estate business, while an agent works for a broker. C. An agent can conduct appraisals, whereas a broker cannot. D. A broker sells properties, while an agent handles rentals. Answer. B. A broker is licensed to manage their own real estate business, while an agent works for a broker. Explanation. In Texas, a real estate broker is a licensed professional who is qualified to manage their own real estate business, whereas a real estate agent, also licensed, must work under the supervision of a broker. Brokers have additional training and licensing requirements compared to agents. Question 45. Scenario. A Texas homeowner wants to convert their primary residence into a rental property. What legal and tax implications should they consider? A. No implications. It's a straightforward process. B. Changes in property tax rates and potential need for a landlord insurance policy. C. Requirement to sell the property before renting it. D. Obtaining a new mortgage for the property. Answer. B. Changes in property tax rates and potential need for a landlord insurance policy. Explanation. Converting a primary residence into a rental property in Texas can lead to changes in property tax rates, as homestead exemptions might no longer apply. Homeowners should also consider obtaining a landlord insurance policy to cover potential liabilities and damages associated with renting out the property. Question 46. How does the Texas statute of frauds relate to real estate contracts? A. It requires all real estate contracts to be in writing to be enforceable. B. Allows for verbal real estate contracts. C. Applies only to fraud cases in real estate. D. It mandates that all real estate agents report fraudulent activities. Answer. A. It requires all real estate contracts to be in writing to be enforceable. Explanation. The Texas statute of frauds mandates that certain contracts, including those for the sale of real estate, must be in writing and signed by the parties to be legally enforceable. This requirement is meant to prevent misunderstandings and reduce fraud in real estate transactions. Question 47. Can you provide an explanation of the Texas homestead exemption and its advantages for homeowners? A. Reduces property taxes for primary residences. B. Offers relief from property taxes for all homeowners. C. Provides an exemption for all rental properties. D. Reduces federal taxes on the property. Answer. A. Reduces property taxes for primary residences. Explanation. The Texas homestead exemption results in a reduction of property taxes for homeowners' primary residences. This exemption effectively lowers the taxable value of the home, leading to savings on property taxes and providing some protection against the possibility of a forced sale due to property tax debts. Question 48. Scenario. A Texas property has undisclosed easements. What recourse does the buyer have? A. No recourse. Easements are not required to be disclosed. B. Seeking legal advice to understand potential impact and remedies. C. Immediately canceling the property purchase. D. Removing the easement without legal proceedings. Answer. B. Seeking legal advice to understand potential impact and remedies. Explanation. If a buyer in Texas discovers undisclosed easements after purchasing a property, they should seek legal advice to understand the easement's potential impact on their property use and rights, as well as explore possible remedies, which might include negotiating with the easement holder or legal action. Question 49. Discuss how Texas law addresses lead-based paint disclosure in residential properties. A. There's no requirement for lead-based paint disclosure. B. Sellers must disclose the presence of lead-based paint in homes built before 1978. C. Only applies to properties built after 2000. D. Mandatory removal of lead-based paint before selling. Answer. B. Sellers must disclose the presence of lead-based paint in homes built before 1978. Explanation. Texas law requires sellers to disclose the presence of lead-based paint in residential properties built before 1978. This federal requirement, under the Residential Lead-Based Paint Hazard Reduction Act, is meant to inform potential buyers about the risks of lead exposure, especially for young children. Question 50. Define gross rent multiplier, GRM, and its application in evaluating rental properties in Texas. A. The total rent collected over a year. B. A measure to compare rent prices across different areas. C. A method to calculate the value of a rental property based on its rent. D. The maximum rent that can be charged for a property. Answer. C. A method to calculate the value of a rental property based on its rent. Explanation. The gross rent multiplier, GRM, is a simple method used in Texas to estimate the value of a rental property based on its rental income. It is calculated by dividing the property's price by its gross annual rental income, providing a quick way to compare and assess the value of different rental properties. Question 51. Scenario. A Texas property is listed as pending sale. Explain what this means for potential buyers. A. The property is no longer available for purchase. B. The property can still be viewed but not purchased. C. The sale is not yet final and backup offers may be considered. D. The listing is likely to be removed soon. Answer. C. The sale is not yet final and backup offers may be considered. Explanation. When a Texas property is listed as pending sale, it means that an offer has been accepted, but the sale has not yet been finalized. Potential buyers may still express interest, and backup offers can be considered in case the current deal falls through. Question 52. What is a real estate syndicate, and how do they operate in Texas? A. A government agency that oversees real estate transactions. B. A group of investors pooling resources to invest in real estate. C. A network of real estate agents sharing property listings. D. A type of real estate investment trust, REIT. Answer. B. A group of investors pooling resources to invest in real estate. Explanation. A real estate syndicate in Texas is a group of investors who pool their financial resources to invest in real estate projects. These syndicates can be structured as partnerships or corporations, and they allow investors to participate in larger projects than they might individually. Question 53. Explain property tax assessments and their impact on homeowners in Texas. A. A yearly fee paid by homeowners for community services. B. The process of determining the value of a property for tax purposes. C. An evaluation of property condition for insurance. D. A tax on the sale of property. Answer: B. The process of determining the value of a property for tax purposes. Explanation: property tax assessments in Texas involve determining the market value of a property, which is then used to calculate property taxes. These assessments directly impact homeowners as they determine the amount of property tax owed, influencing annual housing costs. Question 54. Scenario: a commercial property in Texas is being appraised. What factors are considered in the appraisal process? A. The property's location, income potential, and current use. B. The owner's financial status and credit history. C. The zoning laws and future development plans for the area. D. The age and architectural style of the building. Answer: A. The property's location, income potential, and current use. Explanation: when appraising a commercial property in Texas, factors such as the property's location, its potential to generate income, such as rental income, and its current use, e.g., retail, office, industrial, are crucial in determining its value. Question 55. In Texas, what constitutes a breach of contract in real estate transactions? A. Failure to attend property viewings. B. Non-compliance with the agreed terms in the contract. C. Delay in property appraisal. D. Changing real estate agents during a transaction. Answer: B. Non-compliance with the agreed terms in the contract. Explanation: a breach of contract in Texas real estate transactions occurs when either party fails to comply with the terms and conditions outlined in the legally binding contract. This can include failure to complete agreed-upon actions, such as repairs, or to close the transaction as scheduled. Question 56. Describe how seller financing works in a Texas real estate transaction. A. The seller leases the property to the buyer. B. The buyer obtains a loan from a bank, and the seller acts as a guarantor. C. The seller provides a loan to the buyer for the purchase. D. The buyer pays the full amount in cash to the seller. Answer: C. The seller provides a loan to the buyer for the purchase. Explanation: in seller financing, also known as owner financing in Texas, the seller extends credit to the buyer to purchase the property. The buyer makes payments to the seller instead of obtaining a loan from a traditional lender, and the seller retains a security interest in the property until the loan is fully repaid. Question 57. Scenario: a Texas couple is buying a home under a land contract. What does this mean for their ownership rights? A. They have full ownership rights from the beginning. B. They gain ownership rights after the contract is fully paid. C. They have no ownership rights until the land is surveyed. D. They share ownership rights with the seller. Answer: B. They gain ownership rights after the contract is fully paid. Explanation: under a land contract in Texas, the buyer does not receive the title to the property immediately. Instead, they make payments to the seller according to the contract terms, and ownership rights are transferred only after the contract is fully paid. Question 58. What are the key differences between residential and commercial real estate in Texas? A. No significant differences exist. B. Residential real estate is only for nonprofit organizations. C. Residential is primarily for living purposes, commercial for business activities. D. Commercial real estate cannot be leased. Answer: C. Residential is primarily for living purposes, commercial for business activities. Explanation: the key differences between residential and commercial real estate in Texas lie in their use. Residential real estate is intended for living purposes, such as houses or apartments, while commercial real estate is used for business activities, including office spaces, retail stores, and industrial properties. Question 59. Define the term agency in Texas real estate and its different types. A. The government body regulating real estate. B. The relationship between a real estate professional and their client. C. A type of real estate brokerage. D. The process of buying and selling real estate. Answer. B. The relationship between a real estate professional and their client. Explanation. In Texas real estate, agency refers to the relationship between a real estate professional, agent or broker, and their client, buyer, seller, landlord, or tenant. Types of agency include single agency, representing only one party in the transaction, and dual agency, representing both the buyer and seller in the same transaction. Question 60. Scenario. A Texas property owner discovers ancient artifacts on their land. What legal obligations do they have regarding this discovery? A. No obligations. They can keep or sell the artifacts. B. Report the discovery to local authorities and avoid disturbing the site. C. Destroy the artifacts to avoid legal complications. D. Donate the artifacts to a museum. Answer. B. Report the discovery to local authorities and avoid disturbing the site. Explanation. If a Texas property owner discovers ancient artifacts on their land, they have a legal obligation to report the discovery to local or state authorities and avoid disturbing the site. The artifacts may be protected under historical preservation laws, and their handling might require professional assessment. Question 61. What is the significance of a market absorption rate in the Texas real estate market? A. It indicates the number of properties sold in a year. B. Measures the rate at which properties are sold or leased in a specific area. C. Determines the profitability of real estate investments. D. Shows the average price of properties in the market. Answer. B. Measures the rate at which properties are sold or leased in a specific area. Explanation. The market absorption rate in the Texas real estate market is significant as it measures how quickly properties in a specific area are being sold or leased over a certain period. It helps in understanding market demand, whether it's a buyer's or seller's market, and in setting pricing strategies. Question 62. Scenario. A Texas property owner is considering challenging their property tax assessment. What is the process for this? A. Paying a fee to automatically reduce the assessment. B. Filing a protest with the local appraisal district. C. Selling the property to avoid the assessment. D. Requesting a reassessment every 5 years. Answer. B. Filing a protest with the local appraisal district. Explanation. In Texas, if a property owner disagrees with their property tax assessment, they can file a protest with their local appraisal district. This process typically involves submitting evidence to support their claim that the assessment is too high, such as recent appraisals or comparable property values. Question 63. Explain the concept of adverse possession in Texas property law. A. The illegal takeover of a property. B. Acquiring title to property through prolonged unauthorized use. C. Possessing property with the owner's permission. D. A temporary right to use someone's property. Answer. B. Acquiring title to property through prolonged unauthorized use. Explanation. Adverse possession in Texas allows an individual to acquire legal title to a piece of property by using it openly, continuously, and without the owner's permission for a legally specified period. This concept is sometimes referred to as squatters' rights. Question 64. How do Texas laws address the issue of squatters' rights? A. Squatters have no rights and can be removed immediately. B. Squatters can claim ownership after a certain period of continuous occupation. C. Squatting is considered a felony. D. Property owners must rent to squatters at a reduced rate. Answer. B. Squatters can claim ownership after a certain period of continuous occupation. Explanation. Texas laws allow squatters to claim squatters' rights or adverse possession under specific conditions. If a squatter continuously occupies a property for a certain period, typically 10 years, meets certain criteria like paying property taxes, and treats the property as their own, they may be able to claim legal ownership. Question 65. Scenario. A Texas real estate developer plans to build a new subdivision. What zoning considerations must they take into account? A. The color scheme of the subdivision. B. Zoning laws dictating land use, density, and building requirements. C. The number of trees to be planted per lot. D. The name of the subdivision. Answer. B. Zoning laws dictating land use, density, and building requirements. Explanation. When planning to build a new subdivision in Texas, a real estate developer must consider local zoning laws, which dictate how the land can be used, residential, commercial, etc., density, how many units per area, and specific building requirements like height and setback restrictions. Question 66. Define comparative market analysis, CMA, and its role in Texas real estate. A. A method to compare property taxes across different regions. B. A financial report for real estate investment trusts. C. An analysis comparing a property's features to similar properties to estimate its value. D. A comparison of different real estate agents' performance. Answer. C. An analysis comparing a property's features to similar properties to estimate its value. Explanation. Comparative market analysis, CMA, in Texas real estate is a tool used by real estate professionals to estimate the value of a property by comparing it to similar properties that have recently sold, are currently on the market, or were taken off the market. It helps in pricing properties for sale or assessing the market value for buyers. Question 67. In Texas, what are the legal implications of a property being located in a flood zone? A. Properties in flood zones cannot be insured. B. Mandatory flood insurance and potential impact on property value. C. No implications. Flood zones do not affect real estate transactions. D. Increased property taxes for flood zone maintenance. Answer. B. Mandatory flood insurance and potential impact on property value. Explanation. In Texas, properties located in designated flood zones often require mandatory flood insurance, especially if the property is financed with a federally backed mortgage. Being in a flood zone can also impact the property's value and its attractiveness to potential buyers. Question 68. Scenario. A Texas landlord wants to evict a tenant for non-payment of rent. What legal steps must they follow? A. Immediate eviction without notice. B. Providing a written notice and following the legal eviction process. C. Withholding the tenant's belongings until rent is paid. D. Increasing the rent as a penalty. Answer. B. Providing a written notice and following the legal eviction process. Explanation. In Texas, if a landlord wants to evict a tenant for non-payment of rent, they must first provide the tenant with a written notice to vacate, giving the tenant a chance to pay the rent or leave. If the tenant does not comply, the landlord can then file an eviction lawsuit in court. Question 69. How is constructive notice relevant to Texas real estate transactions? A. It's a notice for construction defects and property. B. It refers to the knowledge one could obtain through the proper investigation of public records. C. A requirement for all real estate agents to inform clients about property listings. D. Notification of zoning changes in a neighborhood. Answer. B. It refers to the knowledge one could obtain through the proper investigation of public records. Explanation. Constructive notice in Texas real estate refers to the information that an individual is presumed to have by law due to its availability through diligent investigation of public records, such as property deeds and liens. This concept implies that everyone is assumed to know what is in these records, affecting property transactions. Question 70. What are the responsibilities of a closing agent in a Texas real estate transaction? A. To list properties and find buyers. B. To negotiate the property price. C. Facilitating the final transaction process, including document preparation and funds transfer. D. To conduct property inspections. Answer: C. Facilitating the final transaction process, including document preparation and funds transfer. Explanation: in Texas real estate transactions, a closing agent, which could be an attorney, a title company, or an escrow agent, is responsible for facilitating the closing process. This includes preparing necessary documents, ensuring all terms of the contract are met, and overseeing the transfer of funds and property title. Question 71. Scenario: a Texas homeowner discovers an error in their deed. How should they proceed to correct it? A. Ignore it as minor errors don't impact property ownership. B. File a lawsuit against the previous owner. C. Record a corrective deed or affidavit to rectify the error. D. Repurchase the property from the state. Answer: C. Record a corrective deed or affidavit to rectify the error. Explanation: if a homeowner in Texas discovers an error in their property deed, they should proceed to correct it by recording a corrective deed or an affidavit with the county recorder's office. This legal document will rectify the error, such as a misspelling or incorrect property description, ensuring the deed accurately reflects the property details. Question 72. Explain the process and significance of title insurance in Texas real estate. A. Insurance covering property damages. B. Protects against losses from defects in the title or from liens. C. Mandatory insurance for all real estate transactions. D. An optional insurance for new homeowners. Answer: B. Protects against losses from defects in the title or from liens. Explanation: title insurance in Texas real estate is a form of indemnity insurance that protects buyers and lenders against financial loss resulting from defects in the title to a property, such as undisclosed liens, ownership disputes, or errors in public records. It ensures a clear and undisputed property title. Question 73. What is redlining, and what are its legal implications in Texas real estate? A. Drawing property boundaries. B. A legal practice for prioritizing property listings. C. The discriminatory practice of denying services based on location. D. Marking properties that need renovations. Answer: C. The discriminatory practice of denying services based on location. Explanation: redlining is an illegal and discriminatory practice in Texas real estate, where lenders, insurers, or other service providers deny services, like loans or insurance, to residents of certain areas based on racial or ethnic composition. It has significant legal implications, including potential lawsuits and penalties. Question 74. Scenario: a real estate agent in Texas accidentally misrepresents a property's features. What are the potential consequences? A. Mandatory revocation of the agent's license. B. No consequences as it was an accident. C. Possible legal action for misrepresentation and professional repercussions. D. A formal warning from the Texas Real Estate Commission. Answer: C. Possible legal action for misrepresentation and professional repercussions. Explanation: if a real estate agent in Texas accidentally misrepresents a property's features, they could face potential legal consequences for misrepresentation, especially if it leads to a buyer's financial loss. Professional repercussions could include disciplinary action by the Texas Real Estate Commission and damage to the agent's reputation. Question 75. In Texas, how does a lease option work in real estate transactions? A. The tenant has the option to purchase the property at a set price. B. A standard leasing agreement with no option to purchase. C. The landlord has the option to terminate the lease anytime. D. A lease where the rent increases annually. Answer: A. The tenant has the option to purchase the property at a set price. Explanation: a lease option in Texas real estate is an arrangement where the tenant leases a property with the option to purchase it at a later date for a predetermined price. This option gives the tenant time to build up a down payment or improve their creditworthiness while locking in a purchase price. Question 76. Define the term escrow and explain its role in Texas real estate transactions. A. A type of property deed. B. A tax levied on property transactions. C. A neutral third party holds funds or documents until conditions are met. D. The final stage of a property sale. Answer: C. A neutral third party holds funds or documents until conditions are met. Explanation: in Texas real estate transactions, escrow refers to a legal arrangement where a neutral third party, often an escrow agent, temporarily holds funds, documents, or other assets until specific conditions of the transaction are met. This ensures a secure and fair process for both the buyer and the seller. Question 77. Scenario: a Texas property is being sold as is. What does this mean for the buyer? A. The buyer must accept the property in its current condition. B. The seller will repair any defects before the sale. C. The property comes fully furnished. D. The buyer has a right to request renovations. Answer: A. The buyer must accept the property in its current condition. Explanation: when a property in Texas is sold as is, it means that the buyer agrees to purchase the property in its existing condition without the seller making any repairs or improvements. The buyer assumes the risk of any issues or defects the property may have. Question 78. What are the key considerations in Texas when drafting a real estate contract? A. The contract's color and paper quality. B. Legally required elements, accuracy, and clarity of terms. C. The length of the contract. D. The number of witnesses present during signing. Answer: B. Legally required elements, accuracy, and clarity of terms. Explanation: key considerations when drafting a real estate contract in Texas include ensuring that it contains all legally required elements, such as property description, price, and party signatures, accuracy in detailing the agreement, and clarity of terms to prevent misunderstandings and legal disputes. Question 79. How do riparian rights affect property owners in Texas? A. They give property owners the right to build on riverbanks. B. Provide rights to use water from a river or stream on or bordering their property. C. Allow property owners to reroute waterways. D. Guarantee access to public utilities. Answer: B. Provide rights to use water from a river or stream on or bordering their property. Explanation: in Texas, riparian rights refer to the rights of property owners whose land borders a river or stream. These rights allow the property owner to use water from the waterway, such as for irrigation, subject to certain regulations and restrictions. Question 80. Scenario: a Texas real estate agent is working with both a buyer and a seller in the same transaction. What must the agent disclose and consider? A. No disclosure is necessary, as it's a common practice. B. Disclose the dual agency arrangement to both parties and obtain their informed consent. C. Only disclose to the party they originally represented. D. Alternate between representing the buyer and seller at different stages. Answer: B. Disclose the dual agency arrangement to both parties and obtain their informed consent. Explanation: in Texas, When a real estate agent represents both the buyer and the seller in the same transaction, tool agency, they must disclose this arrangement to both parties and obtain their informed consent. This disclosure is crucial to ensure transparency and manage potential conflicts of interest. Question 81. What legal protections are offered to buyers under the Texas Residential Construction Liability Act? A. Protection against any construction defects. B. Rights to sue builders for substandard construction. C. Automatic insurance coverage for new homes. D. A guarantee of home value appreciation. Answer. B. Rights to sue builders for substandard construction. Explanation. The Texas Residential Construction Liability Act provides legal protections to home buyers by giving them the right to sue builders or contractors for construction defects. It outlines procedures for making claims and resolving disputes related to the quality of residential construction. Question 82. Scenario. A Texas homeowner wants to appeal a decision made by their HOA. What steps should they take? A. Immediately file a lawsuit against the HOA. B. Review the HOA's bylaws and follow the outlined appeal process. C. Sell the property and move out. D. Stop paying HOA dues as a form of protest. Answer. B. Review the HOA's bylaws and follow the outlined appeal process. Explanation. If a Texas homeowner disagrees with a decision made by their homeowners association, HOA, they should first review the HOA's governing documents, which typically include an appeal process. Following these procedures is the initial step in challenging the decision. Question 83. Define blockbusting and discuss its legality in Texas real estate practices. A. A legal method of rapidly selling properties in a block. B. The illegal practice of inducing panic selling by exploiting fears of neighborhood demographic changes. C. The process of buying multiple adjacent properties. D. A strategy for bulk purchasing foreclosed homes. Answer. B. The illegal practice of inducing panic selling by exploiting fears of neighborhood demographic changes. Explanation. Blockbusting is an illegal and discriminatory practice in Texas real estate where agents or others induce homeowners to sell rapidly by exploiting fears of changing neighborhood demographics, such as racial, ethnic, or religious shifts. It's prohibited under fair housing laws. Question 84. How does the Texas Real Estate License Act regulate the activities of real estate licensees? A. By setting standards for property prices. B. It does not regulate licensees' activities. C. Establishing rules and standards for licensing, professional conduct, and education. D. Mandating a fixed commission rate for all transactions. Answer. C. Establishing rules and standards for licensing, professional conduct, and education. Explanation. The Texas Real Estate License Act regulates real estate professionals by establishing rules and standards for obtaining and maintaining a real estate license. It covers aspects such as educational requirements, ethical conduct, and disciplinary actions to ensure professionalism in the industry. Question 85. Scenario. A commercial building in Texas is sold with a triple net lease. What are the implications for the new owner? A. They receive higher rental income due to the lease. B. They are responsible for property taxes, insurance, and maintenance costs. C. The lease is automatically terminated upon sale. D. They must renegotiate the lease terms with the tenant. Answer. B. They are responsible for property taxes, insurance, and maintenance costs. Explanation. A triple net lease in Texas means that the tenant, not the property owner, is responsible for paying property taxes, building insurance, and maintenance costs, in addition to rent and utilities. For the new owner, this lease type can provide a more stable and predictable income stream as these expenses are passed on to the tenant. Question 86. Explain the right of first refusal in Texas real estate transactions. A. The seller's right to refuse the first offer on their property. B. The right to be the first to view a property for sale. C. A contractual right to match or better an offer before the property is sold to someone else. D. The buyer's right to refuse to buy the property after an inspection. Answer. C. Answer. C. A contractual right to match or better an offer before the property is sold to someone else. Explanation. The right of first refusal in Texas real estate transactions is a contractual right that allows a party, such as a tenant or adjacent property owner, to match or better an offer on a property before it is sold to someone else. This right gives them the opportunity to purchase the property under the terms of the new offer. Question 87. In Texas, what are the requirements for a property to be legally considered abandoned? A. The property being empty for more than a year. B. Non-payment of property taxes for 3 consecutive years. C. The owner verbally declares abandonment. D. Lack of maintenance and unpaid taxes for a certain period. Answer. D. Lack of maintenance and unpaid taxes for a certain period. Explanation. For a property to be legally considered abandoned in Texas, there are typically requirements such as a lack of maintenance and the non-payment of property taxes for a certain period. Legal abandonment can lead to consequences such as foreclosure for tax delinquency. Question 88. Scenario. A Texas couple is buying a waterfront property. What should they know about literal rights? A. They have unlimited rights to modify the waterfront. B. Rights related to the use and enjoyment of the shoreline. C. They must allow public access to the waterfront. D. They are responsible for any erosion control. Answer. B. Rights related to the use and enjoyment of the shoreline. Explanation. In buying a waterfront property in Texas, the couple should be aware of literal rights, which are rights related to the ownership and use of the shoreline. These rights typically allow the property owner to use and enjoy the water adjacent to their land, subject to certain restrictions and regulations. Question 89. How do restrictive covenants affect property owners in Texas? A. They limit the types of businesses a property owner can operate. B. Restrictive covenants are not enforceable in Texas. C. They impose restrictions on property use and improvements. D. They dictate the minimum price for selling a property. Answer. C. They impose restrictions on property use and improvements. Explanation. Restrictive covenants in Texas are rules set by developers or homeowners associations that impose restrictions on how a property can be used or improved. These covenants can dictate things like building size, architectural style, and permissible uses, affecting property owners' ability to modify their property. Question 90. What is the Texas Veterans Land Board, and what role does it play in real estate? A. A board that sells land exclusively to veterans. B. An agency providing land purchase assistance to Texas veterans. C. A group advocating for veterans' rights in real estate transactions. D. A regulatory body overseeing veteran-owned real estate businesses. Answer. B. An agency providing land purchase assistance to Texas veterans. Explanation. The Texas Veterans Land Board, VALB, plays a significant role in real estate by providing Texas veterans with assistance in purchasing land. The VLB offers various programs, including land loans, and home improvement loans, specifically for veterans. Question 91. Scenario. A Texas real estate broker discovers unethical behavior by one of their agents. What should the broker do? A. Ignore it as long as it's profitable. B. Report the behavior to the Texas Real Estate Commission and take appropriate action. C. Encourage the agent to continue if it benefits the brokerage. D. Transfer the agent to a different office. Answer. B. Report the behavior to the Texas Real Estate Commission and take appropriate action. Explanation. If a Texas real estate broker discovers unethical behavior by one of their agents, they have a responsibility to report this behavior to the Texas Real Estate Commission, TRAC, and take appropriate corrective action. This may include disciplinary measures or additional training, depending on the severity of the misconduct. Question 92. Define chain of title and its importance in Texas real estate. A. The sequence of historical transfers of title to a property. B. A list of potential buyers for a property. C. The chronological order of real estate agents representing a property. D. The progression of property prices over time. Answer. A. The sequence of historical transfers of title to a property. Explanation. The chain of title in Texas real estate is a term that refers to the chronological sequence of conveyances or transfers of title of a piece of property. It's important because it establishes a history of ownership and is crucial in determining whether the title is clear and free of disputes or encumbrances. Question 93. In Texas, how does zoning affect property development and use? A. Zoning has no impact on property development. B. Zoning determines the allowable uses and development standards for properties. C. It dictates the architectural style of buildings. D. Zoning only affects commercial properties. Answer. B. Zoning determines the allowable uses and development standards for properties. Explanation. In Texas, zoning laws play a critical role in property development and use by determining what activities can occur on a property and setting standards for things like building size, placement, and density. Zoning ensures orderly development and helps protect property values. Question 94. Scenario. A Texas property owner is considering selling their property through owner financing. What does this entail? A. The owner renting out the property. B. The owner providing a mortgage loan directly to the buyer. C. Listing the property with a real estate agency. D. The owner paying the buyer to take the property. Answer. B. The owner providing a mortgage loan directly to the buyer. Explanation. Owner financing in Texas real estate occurs when the property owner provides financing to the buyer directly, instead of the buyer obtaining a loan from a traditional lender. This arrangement can be beneficial for buyers who might not qualify for traditional financing and for sellers looking to sell quickly. Question 95. What is the purpose of a public report in Texas real estate transactions? A. To disclose a property's public utility costs. B. A report detailing a property's impact on public infrastructure. C. To provide information on public schools in the area. D. To disclose information about a development project to prospective buyers. Answer. D. To disclose information about a development project to prospective buyers. Explanation. In Texas, a public report is often required for new development projects and is used to disclose critical information about the project to prospective buyers. This report may include details about the development, such as amenities, utilities, and any special assessments or fees. Question 96. How does the Texas Deceptive Trade Practices Act, DTPA, impact real estate transactions? A. It deregulates trade practices in real estate. B. Provides consumers with protection against false, misleading, or deceptive business practices. C. It only applies to commercial real estate transactions. D. Requires all real estate transactions to be conducted in cash. Answer. B. Provides consumers with protection against false, misleading, or deceptive business practices. Explanation. The Texas Deceptive Trade Practices Act, DTPA, significantly impacts real estate transactions by providing consumers with legal protection against deceptive, false, or misleading business practices. Violations of the DTPA in real estate can lead to legal consequences, including damages and penalties. Question 97. Scenario. A Texas real estate agent is marketing a property that's rumored to be haunted. What are the disclosure requirements? A. Full disclosure of all ghostly activities. B. No disclosure required for rumored hauntings. C. A written statement from a paranormal expert. D. Offering a discount to buyers for the haunting. Answer. B. No disclosure required for rumored hauntings. Explanation. In Texas, there is no legal requirement for real estate agents to disclose rumored paranormal activities or hauntings in a property. Disclosures typically focus on material facts about the property's physical condition and legal status, not on subjective or unverifiable rumors. Question 98. In Texas, what constitutes dual agency, and what are the requirements for its establishment? A. Representing both the buyer and seller in a transaction without disclosure. B. An agent working for two different real estate agencies. C. Representing both the buyer and seller with full disclosure and consent. D. An agent selling two properties at the same time. Answer. C. Representing both the buyer and seller with full disclosure and consent. Explanation. Dual agency in Texas real estate occurs when a single agent represents both the buyer and the seller in the same transaction. It requires full disclosure to and informed consent from both parties, acknowledging the potential conflict of interest and agreeing to the dual representation. Question 99. Define option period in Texas real estate contracts. A. The time frame when the seller can back out without penalty. B. A fixed period during which the buyer can conduct due diligence. C. The period when the property is off the market for exclusive negotiation. D. The time allowed for the buyer to secure financing. Answer. B. A fixed period during which the buyer can conduct due diligence. Explanation. The option period in Texas real estate contracts is a specified time frame, agreed upon by both the buyer and seller, during which the buyer has the exclusive right to conduct due diligence, such as inspections and property evaluation. The buyer typically pays a fee for this option, and it allows them to terminate the contract for any reason during this period. Question 100. Scenario. A Texas property is found to have undisclosed foundation issues after sale. What recourse does the buyer have? A. The buyer must repair the issues at their own cost. B. Seek compensation or repairs from the seller if the issues were known but not disclosed. C. No recourse. Property sales are final in Texas. D. Request a refund from the real estate agent. Answer. B. Seek compensation or repairs from the seller if the issues were known but not disclosed. Explanation. If a buyer in Texas discovers undisclosed foundation issues after the sale, they may have recourse against the seller, especially if it can be proven that the seller knew about the issues but failed to disclose them. The buyer could potentially seek compensation for repairs or even rescind the sale, depending on the severity of the non-disclosure.